Hello, everyone. It's good to be back again. I was hoping today to try and record outside, but gave that up as the wind was blowing and everything else. So today we're going to continue in Acts 12, and one of my favourite stories, actually. And just love the interactions that go on, and it also gives, I think, some insight into people's expectation in those days of God doing supernatural things, and it links into angelic visitations as well. So we pick up in that Acts 12, and it's a another time of change for definitely for myself and probably many people living in our sort of culture. Is persecution isn't really part of the equation. It might be in some settings, but it's certainly not something that I would claim to of experience. But when we look at the church in Acts 12, persecution was at the center. It was one of the things they understood in the gospel. They actually celebrated persecution in the sense that if they were persecuted for witnessing for Jesus, for declaring Jesus, for honoring Jesus, they saw that it wasn't a personal thing, but it was actually they were being identified with Christ in that persecution. So here in Acts 12, we find that King Herod, he's arrested some people and with the intention of persecuting them. So we've got a whole culture going on with King Herod. And he had the brother of John, James, he was put to death. So it was a brutal time for those that believed. And I always look at that and think it must really sharpen up your faith. You're not going to be part of this group just for a social reason. You have to have had that encounter with God that allows you to see life in an eternal way and not just in a temporary way. So Herod, he saw that that met the approval of the Jews, and so he went after Peter and had Peter arrested as well. So you could see they're really going for the core people here, and this happens during the festival of the unleavened bread. And this is why I just love the next bit of the story. So they arrest him, they put him in prison, and they're not taking any chances here. And this is often a theme that we'll find um, when persecution is going on. So it says he was guarded by four squads of soldiers of four each. You're like they're not leaving any opportunity that Peter could be rescued, and probably with some of the experiences they'd had of believers either supernaturally escaping, even some of the things that happen around Jesus, you think, yeah, they were a bit suspicious that stuff could go on. And if they didn't believe in God's supernatural power, I guess they were looking on going, we're not going to allow anyone to work some magic that would then basically be claimed that God had broken in. So Peter, he was kept in prison. They kept him there, and the intention was to put him on public trial after the Passover. And here's the thing: the church was earnestly praying to God for him. So though Peter was in prison, there'd been this uprising, really, of prayer among the believers. And it says this: on the night before Herod was to bring Peter to trial, he was sleeping between two soldiers, bound with chains, and sentries stood guard at the entrance. You see that no one's taking any chances here. They're going to do everything to make sure that Peter appears the next day before Herod for the trial. And this is what I love. There's a suddenly of God. When you get a minute, just Google the word suddenly in the Bible. Just have a, it's not Google, is it? It's just search the word suddenly in the Bible and see those times, there's suddenlies of God where something happens that it really is going to be a change round time, for some reason. And one of them was the day of Pentecost. Now we've got this moment where suddenly an angel appeared. It's like boom, things change. Things are on the move. And it says the angel. It says a light shone in the cell, and the angel struck Peter on the side and woke him up. Quick, get up, he said, and the chains fell off Peter's wrists. This is the beginning of the miracles that happen. So Peter's awake, and I don't know what's happened to the soldiers at this point. They must have all been asleep. And the chains fell off his wrists. And he looks at Peter. Yeah, he said, put on your clothes and your sandals, wrap your cloak around you and follow me. So basically, get dressed and get on the move. It says, Peter followed him out of prison. He followed the angel out of prison. And he had no idea what the angel was doing was really happening. He thought he was seeing a vision. I just think, to Peter, you got this angel there. And to him, it's more like a vision than actually something that's really happening. And it says they passed the first and the second guards and came to the iron gate leading to the city. Miracle after miracle. The guards are asleep, or even if they're awake, they don't see him. And it says, the gate leading to the city, it opened by itself, and they went through. Again, another miracle. Yeah, I love this, that these spontaneous moments, these miracles, it's not just about one miracle, but it's miracle after miracle. It says, after they walked the length of one street, the angel left him. So Peter has escaped with the help of this angel. And we get to verse 11, it says, Peter came to himself, and he's like, now I know without a doubt the Lord has sent his angels and rescued me from Herod's clutches and from everything the Jewish people were hoping to happen. So Peter, he's got to this point thinking he's in a vision, thinking he's having a dream, not realizing it's actually happening to him. And it says, when he realized this, he went to the house of Mary, the mother of John, also called Mark, where many people had gathered and were praying. Yeah, that's the thing. There's a response here to a circumstance. And the response is to pray, to seek God. And I love this because he knocks on the outer door, Peter, and the servant named Rhoda comes and answers the door. When she recognizes Peter's voice, she's so overjoyed, she runs back without opening it, explaining Peter's at the door. It's very childlike, isn't it? It's like, ah! Yeah, Peter's here. And I love their response because you're out of your mind. When she kept insisting, they said, it must be his angel. And often we can think, what sort of faith do we need to have for something to happen? Now, these people are praying, but they're praying for Peter's release, but actually, when it comes to it, they didn't have a faith that said he'll be released. In fact, there's a sense that when she said, "This is," they said she said he's there. They said it's his angel. It's almost like they're like, well, if the angel's on the move, let's be happy because something might be happening. They couldn't engage the fact this was Peter. Sometimes I think when we pray, we're like, have I got enough faith? Have I got enough this? And all those sorts of questions. And they're the wrong questions. The fact we're praying demonstrates our faith. The fact we're asking God demonstrates our faith. And we just need to keep it simple. And it says, but Peter in verse 16 says he kept on knocking. And they opened the door and saw him and were astonished. They're like, what? And I just think that's wonderful that they had greater expectation to see an angel than they did to see Peter. It says Peter motioned with his hands to be quiet, and he explained what had happened. And basically after that, he went to another place. And if you read the end of the chapter, you realise that there's a whole commotion because they couldn't work out why and how Peter had escaped. So here is what I just want us to understand. The New Testament church had a greater expectation of angels happening than their prayers answered. And the thing is, when they heard that the angel was there, they didn't run to the door to see the angel. They were clearly so used to angelic activity that somehow it had become normal for them. And I think that's something, in my lifetime, I pray and hope that we see God move in such ways that, like, I know if an angel came at the moment, I'd run to the door and have a look. Yeah, I'd be like, I want to see it. But to come to a place where it's so normal, we just say, let's get on with our business of prayer. To me, that's an extraordinary place. So that's why I love this story, where, yeah, the extraordinary is happening, but it's somehow coming to their normal everyday life. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that bit of Acts 12. Look forward to being with you soon, and bless you. Have a wonderful day.